G'day mates. So I just wanted to catch you guys really quickly before the video starts because I know some of you may not watch the whole thing. I just wanted to let you all know that King Spook recently posted an epic video that's over 2 hours long and I read 12 stories for the video. I encourage you guys to go check out the video and show some support for Kingy as he has some serious narrating talent and is honestly one of my personal favourites. There will be a link at the end of the video to King Spook's video directly that features myself, and I've also placed a link in the description for you guys to go check out his channel. Alright guys, let's begin. Number 4. So, about 4 or 5 years ago, when I was 15 to 16 years old, my mum took me to McDonald's for lunch. We went inside of the restaurant and my mum immediately headed to the bathroom. When I rounded the corner to get in line, I noticed something weird was going on. There was a man at the counter acting super strange, and lots of people in line were backing away from him and gathering into a little crowd further back. The man started shouting loudly at the woman behind the register and banging his fists on the counter. He lifted up his shirt to expose himself to the lady and started yelling extremely vulgar things to her. This is where I stepped in. Since no one else was intervening in the situation, it was my time to shine. Being a young, punk-influenced teenager, I thought I was going to be the hero. I walked right up to the man and shouted something along the lines of, "Oi, dickhead, the fuck are you doing? Shut the fuck up and leave." He turns around and exposes his chest to me and yells gibberish at the top of his lungs. I then thought it would be a good idea to swing a fake punch at him to scare him off. Bad idea. He immediately digs into his pocket and pulls out a huge knife. I don't even know how he was stashing that thing in there. He just holds it out in front of him and starts yelling some more. Everyone who was previously in line behind me scatters and starts yelling. At this point, lucky for me, my mum came out of the bathroom and noticed I was in some sort of trouble. She immediately grabbed me by the back of the shirt and dragged me out of the McDonald's, yelling at me. I explained to her what happened and she told me how stupid I was to try anything and that man was probably mentally challenged. Someone came out from the restaurant and found me and said they calmed the man down and discreetly called the police as not to see the man go off again. We waited in the parking lot and the police showed up shortly after. They detained the man, and as they were bringing him outside to a squad car, the man looked at me straight in the eyes, smiled, and then screamed,
"I'll gut you next time, I swear I'll gut you, pretty boy."
Number 3. When I was growing up, my dad and I lived with my grandparents. My parents had me while they were teenagers, and my dad got full custody because he lived with my grandparents and my mum was just living with random friends, going from house to house every few weeks. I was the daughter that my grandparents never had, and they doted on me. When I was 6, my grandpa passed away from cancer. This story takes place about 5 months after he passed away. This was, I believe, a Saturday, and my dad was at work. My gram decided to take me to McDonald's for lunch, and like any 6-year-old, I was really excited. So we go to the McDonald's that was about 1.5 miles from our house, order our lunch, and sit down at the table to eat. At the time, we were the only ones eating inside. About 10 minutes later, after we sit down, a scraggly looking man walks in, orders a meal and sits down at the table diagonally in front of us to the left. The area we lived in was middle and upper class, so this guy looked pretty out of place. Graham had her back to him, but I could see him perfectly. This man was at least in his mid-50s with really wiry, scraggy and dirty white hair and a beard. He had on blue shorts and a white t-shirt, also kinda dirty, and sandals. It's amazing. This happened 21 years ago and I can remember it like it was yesterday. So I noticed that under the table, this man had something dark, pink, and wrinkly on his lap. And he kept glancing at me and rubbing it every few seconds. In kindergarten, we learned about stranger danger and good touch, bad touch, and learned which parts of the body people were supposed to touch. It clicked in my 6-year-old head that this man was not supposed to have been acting out like that, nor doing what he was doing. I got really queasy and nervous. I didn't want to tell my gram right there and then because I thought the man would hurt us. If my dad was there, I would have said something. But instead, I put my Happy Meal box in front of my face so my view of this guy could be blocked. I had about half of my food left but had lost my appetite. Gram asked me if I was full and I just nodded yes. I was very petite, so not finishing a full meal was nothing new for me. She asked me if I wanted to go play in the play area before we left, but I just shook my head and quietly said, I want to go home. Gram cleared our table and we left. When we got home, I was still really nervous and I felt like I was going to throw up. Gram asked me, "What's the matter, Munchkin?" And I started crying and told her about the man at the McDonald's and what I saw. My gram didn't panic or freak or get hysterical. She just hugged me and said, "It's alright, go into your room and play and I'll take care of it." She wiped my tears, gave me a blueberry Kool-Aid burst and told our dog, Patches, to go to my room with me, which she did. After I was out of earshot, Graham called the McDonald's and told them about the guy. He was still there. The manager told Graham he'd take care of it and call her back. An hour later, the manager calls back and tells Graham they called the police, who showed up in record time and arrested the guy. When the police told the man to stand up, his frankenbeans were still hanging out of his shorts. The manager told Graham that she could bring me back for a month's worth of coupons for Happy Meals, if she wished. Number 2. I'm a 23-year-old male living in Florida. I'm fairly introverted and hardly ever get out of the house. This encounter happened a few months ago. It was about 12 AM and I was getting a bit stir-crazy and needed to get out and just chill with someone. So I texted a special lady friend of mine. We made plans to do our normal routine and hang out at this nice secluded park. I went and picked her up and we drove to our spot and spent a couple of hours just chatting about anything and everything. Then she got hungry, so we decided to drive down the road in the car and get some McDonald's. This is where things started getting weird. We arrived at McDonald's and went inside instead of the drive-thru. She ordered her food while I went to the restroom to wash my hands. I really wish I hadn't gone to the restroom that night. As soon as I walked into the restroom, I saw this guy standing at one of those heater dryer things. Alright, not too weird. But then I noticed that he was kind of hunched over it and wasn't moving. Whatever, I ignore him. I wash my hands and realize that he's standing at the only dryer in the place. The damn paper towels are also empty. So I awkwardly try to ask the guy if he was done using the dryer. He didn't respond. Thoroughly creeped out, I just walk out and dry my hands on my shirt. I get out of the restroom and find my friend and we sit down at the table to eat. Maybe 20 minutes go by and we're headed back out to the car to go back to our spot. Well, my friend has to use the restroom now, so I figure I might as well also. I mean, surely that guy is gone by now, right? Wrong. That guy is still standing there at the dryer, mumbling something to himself now. I got into a stall and take a leak and can hear him hitting the button on the dryer over and over again. I wash my hands again and don't even attempt to go to the dryer. But then the guy moves as I'm trying to walk past him. He steps back right in my path and just looks at me. I notice he's around my age. He just stares at me and says,
"Excuse me."
Okay. I put my head down quickly and say, "Pardon me," and rush around him to get out of the bathroom. 30 seconds later, as I'm waiting for my friend to get out of the ladies' restroom, the guy walks out. He just sits down at a table near me and is just staring straight at me. My friend walks out and notices the creep just eyeballing me. She jokingly asks, "Make a new friend in there, hey?" I just shake my head at her and try to lead her out to the car without making it obvious I'm wanting to run from the guy. Then he does the weirdest thing. He just starts cackling, like a madman. I mean, straight up Joker laugh. I'm thinking to myself, oh shit, crazy druggy dude is gonna do something bad. Then he just stops, suddenly, looks down at my feet and says,
"Nice shoes, Osiris?"
I manage to mutter, "Thanks," and quickly walk away out to the car. As my friend and I are getting into the car, we notice the guy staring at me from inside McDonald's, just straight eyeballing me, death stare. Then he stands up and starts booking it towards us. He wasn't running, but he was like speed walking. He bursts through both doors of the McDonald's and starts coming right at us, and now he looks angry. I pulled out of the parking so fast, it's a damn good thing the roads were empty. My friend and I sped off and went back to our spot and hung out some more. Every car that we saw in the distance, I kept freaking out, expecting it to be the weird guy following us. My friend just teased me about it the entire night, and still teases me about it to this day, about how I made friends with a creeper in the bathroom who liked my shoes.
Number 1.
So, I work at a small McDonald's in an even smaller town in the south, and I've encountered many strange people and seen some fucked up things so far. But I saw something today that I thought I would never see, and I was shocked at how many people didn't notice what was taking place right next to them. I was working behind the counter at around 7 PM, and we had lots of people in the lobby, a few children as well. I like kids, so I usually watch them play around in the lobby because they're all really cute, but I got distracted by the large amount of customers we had to serve and ignored them for probably about 15 minutes. I looked back when I heard a man ask in a small voice, almost whispering,
"So how old are you?"
I turned around to see this extremely tall guy with a shaved head and red shirt talking to a little girl who looked about 5 or 6. He had a little boy around the same age on his shoulders who was giggling. They were beautiful children with blonde hair and blue eyes. I saw that they were happy and the guy seemed friendly, but something in my head was extremely worried. What grown man would ask a little girl how old she is? And if he knew who they were, wouldn't he already know? Why would he care? But after this, he said something that made my heart sink.
"You should come with me now. I have a little brother who's 6 too. Let's go play with him."
He then began to walk to the exit with the boy on his shoulders and the girl tagging along, and I immediately shot for the door to stop him, just as a lady with blonde hair came out of the bathroom shouting, "Hey, where are you guys going? Get over here." The tall guy froze with eyes as big as saucers. He was fucking petrified. The lady then scooped up the little girl in her arm and reaches for the boy as the tall guy lets him down, stammering,
"Oh, I was just playing with your kids. They're really nice kids. I just really like kids."
All at once with a nervous smile. The blonde lady then faked a smile back, but still had eyes that clearly said, "Stay the fuck away from my children, you fucking creep." But her mouth ended up saying, "Oh, well, I'm glad you had a nice time, but we need to order now," and led her kids back up to the restaurant. The tall guy then hurried out of the front exit, and the lady clutched her kids close to her the entire time she was there, even in their booth. If I ever see that guy at work again, I will immediately call the cops on him. Who knows what would have happened to those kids if I wasn't looking, or their mother hadn't come out of the bathroom at that very second. I think it's awful that she left her kids unattended in a full restaurant lobby, but no one deserves to lose their children to a disgusting creep with a sick grin like that. G'day mates, it's Busta here. Well, I think I'll stick to drive-through from now on. Jeez. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and a big shout out goes to James Riley for his talented work on the thumbnail for this video once again. There's a link in the description for you guys to go check out his work at Freakstatic and to share some support, guys, so make sure you do. As always guys, it would be awesome if you could drop a like, share the video, comment below and subscribe if you're new. You can catch me throughout the week on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, all of which I've provided in the links below in the description. We're still growing at blistering speed here in the Hive, guys, so I just wanted to say thank you all so much again for your continued support. It just never ceases to amaze me just how supportive you all are and just how fast this channel is growing because of all of you guys. Don't forget to drop a suggestion below as to what you guys would like to see in the future. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you mates in the next one.